Hello seekers of fun, this is the Retro Bear back in the gaming pantry once more and welcoming you to which probably will be a two-part-ish video. I say ish. What I want to do, I'm going to talk about this today, the A500 Mini, yes, which I've had since about May this year and I've only now started to actually bother to get out of the box and play it. No, it's one of the mini systems that I wanted to get hold of. There aren't, I think there's any mate. No, I think I've got them all, haven't I? I've got most of the ones I want anyway. And this was one I wanted, and I got it for a cracking price. Thank you once again to Darren McGowan, who sold this to me at the Birmingham Gaming Market. Finally, Darren, we got around to playing it 5 months later. I can't say fairer than that. That's good for me. That's good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little bit of an overview here of what it's all about. We'll talk you through bits and pieces in here. And then another video, I'll actually do some gameplay with it. I'm trying to put together a quick video at the moment, and then I'll work on that one a bit later on. So there will probably be a few follow-ups because there's a lot of good games on this stuff, and we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, the A500 Mini, I think when it came out it was £120. I wasn't interested for £120 because, as I'll explain shortly, I wasn't keen on the games that were built in. But you will notice here that it provides on the back here the option to load all your games via USB, which is what Darren had included in this. And I'll show you some of the games that are listed on there, and then we'll play some of those at a further date. You can get on going with this anyway. So like I said, when it came out, I was not overly keen with these games. I didn't really like the lineup. I thought 120 quid was a bit much. Bear in mind, I've got two Amigas, so a load of backups, and I thought, you know what, I'm not really interested in picking it up. Then obviously this was a great price to do it at, so I went in for it, and I'm pretty impressed with it. I mean, this is plugged in at the moment. I can't actually show you what it looks like, but it's not much bigger than that, and it's not called the Amiga 500 just out of interest because obviously there's licensing issues. That's why it's called the A500. You can see there's no actual Commodore logo there. If you had one originally, that's where the Commodore logo would be. And it's just great. It came with a tank mouse, which was the original Amiga mouse. But this is a USB one, so no ball method in at the bottom. And also, possibly the worst controller I've ever held in my entire life, which is a variant of the Amiga CD32 one. I'll show you what it is. Why they picked this one, I have absolutely no idea, but that's what it is. This was a CD32 one, which probably about 4 people in the world ever held. And I just plain don't like it. It's got shoulder buttons, which is fine, but I played Amiga games with a joystick. I know you can use the C64 mini stroke maxi joystick as well, but that's a pilot toot as well, from what I understand. I don't know, I ain't got mine out of the box. But yeah, that is a terrible joypad. The D-pad is just a complete waste of time. It really is. And the problem is it's difficult to do diagonals. I will touch on it briefly when I talk about Batman the movie, but it's so difficult to use the bat rope and not being able to go diagonally properly. It's annoying. But I know you can. I know there's an 8-bit dongle that you can get. I've read on to internet that you can actually buy, or you can actually use PlayStation 4 controller with it as well. So I'm exploring other options, but that really is a horrible, nasty pick. I mean, why that? I mean, oh God, it's a revolting thing. It really is. Which is probably the only downside to the actual package itself. I mean, it's beautifully. I mean, I love the box. Really, really nice box. That's what you got inside. So that's where the controller was. That's where the mouse is. There's also a HDMI cable in there as well. No USB. I don't think they provided the USB. Yeah, they don't provide the AC adapter. So you have to provide them. But the USB cable may have been in there. I don't know. Can't remember. Really nice packaging and all that. That's the lineup of games that you got on the back, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah. But it's really that ability to actually sort of tell people that guess what, you can actually load a load of non packaged in games onto this, rather than have people trying to hack it to pieces afterwards. And I don't mean with a hacksaw. I mean actually, the first thing when the NES Minis and whatever came out was people trying to reverse engineer them so they could stick all the ROMs on. And it was dead easy. The first thing they do, people get hold of these, they try and crack them. And I think people are trying to work it, because obviously it's a WHD load, so I think it's a certain format. And I think there are people trying to crack it to work a different Amiga files on there as well. So even now, people are still trying to improve it from what it is. Anyway, let's have a quick look at what we'll do. We'll go through the games on here. I'll talk about them there. Apologies for the flicker on this. I think it's because it's the plasma. It's a new TV, so I'm not sure how plasma relates to cameras. They may be flickering there. I can see flickering at the moment, but I'll be running this to the computer, so there shouldn't be anything like that. And I'll switch to the old headset, and I'll see you on the other side. This is all rather exciting, isn't it? Because we're going to be looking at the A500 Mini, commonly known as the A500 Mini, but that's the name it was given because I can't use the word Amiga. Anyway, that's a startup, that's what you get, and you get onto this main screen. And I mean, most of you who actually use these sort of things, these mini devices, will pretty much know it's a standard setup, really. The dashboard, the games that are on there. There are options and things below which we'll have a look through. Let's go through some of the. Actually, let's talk through the options. So first of all, as you saw there, you can load games, save games. The save sort of solid save state function, or whatever they call it. So you have the facility to do that there. It does give you 4. I'm pretty sure you can probably do more than that. Let's go into the menu, and this is where you get all the options. So you have your display options, so the fixed size, which is pretty much postage stamp size. There's a moderate zoom, and then there's the screen fit, which is the one we've taken for that. We can go back. Uses the fixed game image size, does not zoom. Adaptively stretches the game image to make maximum effective use of the screen. Well, it's not great on this particular telly, but that's beside the point. You've got system options, so you've got mouse sensitivity, music volume, power LED, mimic the Amiga behaviour, switches the LED from always on to a normal Amiga behaviour. So I'm guessing that may just put a green light on when you try and load a game. I'll have a look at that possibly. Language. Various options there. You want to test yourself and have it in Polish, strange, English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, and Polish. Advanced option. So you've got your television settings. So this is where you are able to go around and running games in 60 Hz if you so wish to do so. The problem is all the Amiga games were actually done in 50 Hz because it was a European machine, so if you try and set it to 60 Hz you may find things placed slightly differently. Use screen age is the only option if your television can display a full 720p image without cropping. I have no idea. That tells you the system information if you're interested in that sort of thing. So this was actually built May 2022, so it's not that old. Legal notices, yeah, okay. There's a factory reset, and there's an expert mode as well. Enable expert game settings. Don't know. But obviously there is ability to take it back to where it started from. That pretty much is standard on most things. And there's a shutdown device. And I'll just turn it off. You can press it off at the back. Anyway, so you've got options and things. I mean, it's not a huge amount of level. I suppose some people do. You obviously got the CRT effect if you so wish to do that. Enables effect simulator scan lines of it. Or there's the smooth imaging option as well, which is probably the best if you're playing on a game. A screen like this. Having said that, I've got this set up running through the PC. That may actually be a better thing to do. I don't know. I'll have to have a play around with that. So those are your options. Again, not a huge amount of things on there. And then we come down to the games. And this is really what you want to see on it. And this is the reason I didn't buy this in the first place, because I don't think this lineup of games, which are illustrated by the game covers, You can probably just see to the left of the screen there the USB stick icon, which I'll get to. But I didn't think this particular lineup of games was exciting enough to warrant the high price tag when it came out. I may have said that during the previous bit. So you got Alien Breed 3D, which I never played originally. And you've also got Alien Breed, the Special Edition 92 one, which I remember buying and playing. Very, very good game, top-down gauntlet dungeon style game, but with aliens. So yeah, it's very, very good. Good. I think it was a budget game when it came out. I'm pretty sure I didn't pay an awful. I paid $7.99 for it maybe back in the day. I can't quite remember. Another World. This is the classic sort of polygonographic, square-shaped head people graphics from Delphine Software, which then led to Flashback. I played it a little bit. I'd played more of Flashback. Interestingly, it says there on the left hand side you can skip the introduction and use level code EDJI to jump straight into the action. This what gives it away a little bit, doesn't it? I like that sort of thing. But yeah, very atmospheric, very, very good game. I haven't played it since, so I'm not quite sure. Bear in mind, although I've turned this on, I haven't played any of the built-in games at the moment. Arcade Pool, this is the first one. Now, I had this, I did buy this back in the day, but again, it seems a strange game to try and sell an Amiga, a mini version of the Amiga to perhaps people who haven't got the nostalgia for it. Did you need the nostalgia for Arcade Pool? Possibly. I mean, it's a good little pool game, but is this going to run out and make you buy one of these? Probably not. Then you got ATR All Terrain Racing. Again, not a game I played, but I think for more sense and purposes, rather good. It's got the top-down view. As you can see there from a side-on view as well. Yeah, but I don't know an awful lot about that one, so I can't really comment on having played it. Again, this is another one, Battle Chess. I mean, I know it's got the animated styles, the character pieces walking around, and when you take a piece, there's like an animated death, or you can play classic chess piece look. But yeah, I mean, does that make you want to rush out and buy one of these? I think it's strange. It just goes to show perhaps the licenses that they got, the easiest ones to get hold of, were there. So I don't know. It's all a bit strange to me, that one. It's all going to come down to licensing at the end of the day, and that's it. Cadaver, which is an isometric dungeon explorer game, not my sort of thing. So again, not something that would make me run out and buy this. As well reviewed and well regarded as it is, I'm pretty sure it's a good game, but it's just not my sort of thing. California Games, I got this as part of the I think it was the gold, silver, bronze collection, which had summer games, winter games, I think this on there. But there are better versions of this. This is not a particularly good version of that game. I think the Master System version probably is a good one. The Commodore 64 version was very well reviewed, but I don't remember playing a huge amount of it. The events are fun enough: skateboard, roller skating, surfboard, BMX biking, footbag and flying disc. But the ones I enjoyed the most were the sort of the side on, the roller skating and the BMX bike ones, and to an extent the footbag. But the rest of them, the skating and surfing, not my sort of thing. Chaos Engine, this is a Bitmap Brothers game, futuristic. It's sort of top-down-ish, isn't it? View. You look at it from that shot there. Very, very well-reviewed game. Again, a game I played many years ago. I haven't played since. I would say that's a good addition. Dragon's Breath. It's a fantasy strategy game. Everyone knows my opinions on fantasy strategy games. A very important tagline there: "Don't run out of money or dragons." That's what I always say when I leave the house in the morning. But yeah, no. And again, F-16 combat pilot. I know the Amiga was very, very into these flight simulators, but again, is that going to make you run out and buy one of these? Is that going to attract you in? Kickoff 2, I mean, my thoughts and opinions on Kickoff 2 are well known. I think it's a good game. I go back to it every now and again. And I'm not bad at it. I don't win many games, but I don't lose many games either. So they tend to be rather frustrating draws. But I still think it's a great football game. My favourite on the system anyway. But I've already got it. I've got the original. So why would I run out and buy that? And this is the game that made me sort of take notice. We saw the other mini systems. Some of them were fairly sort of paint by numbers. There are occasionally games that cropped up. You thought, wow, how did they manage to get that on there? And this is the one that got me, Lost Patrol. I know it's released by Ocean. I'm not sure whether it falls into their rights issues and things like that. Why we haven't got other Ocean games on here, but this would just seem a really weird, out of left field game. And I'd like to have seen more things like that. But again, it's a real-time strategy game, so not my sort of thing. I don't know. You want a few of these, go, oh, I remember that being out at the time, but am I going to buy it? I mean, I make that judgment and say, oh, yeah, that might make me play it, even though it's not my sort of game, and then I'll sit here and moan about these two. But yeah, that was the one that made me sort of sit up and take notice when they were announcing the games that were released for it, but no further. Paradroid 90, I never played the original, so I've got no nostalgia for this. I'm not sure if this is a very good game or not. I know the original was a bit of a classic on the 8-bits, but I think I've got it on 8-bit system somewhere, but it's not the sort of game I'm going to pick up and play. Pinball Dreams, I know these games people love. There's Pinball Dreams, Pinball Fantasies, Pinball something else, but not my sort of game. I didn't enjoy them then. I may enjoy them a bit more now, but I think these games were vastly overrated. I don't get pinball games. I think because pinball is a physical game that you can actually go and play. Why would if you like pinball, why would you want to play pinball on a computer? I'm sure people will be arguing the toss with me on this one, but I'm not saying I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's just not something that excites me and got me the way it did. Project X, if I remember, this is an incredibly tough horizontal shooter from Team 17, of which there are a lot of games of T17 on here. We've seen quite a few already. I didn't play it back then. I know it had a reputation for being absolutely brutal, but very, very good. And again, I think it was a budget game. Quack, again, Team 17 game. I don't know much about that. Other than that, I hear a lot of people say this is a very good and underrated and quite often ignored game. So we'll have to play that and see how we get on. The Sentinel, which is another one of these 3D polygon games. I'm not sure how it's going to hold up nowadays. I've never played it. I've heard about it, but again, I don't know a lot about it. Simon the Sorcerer, point and click. Passed me by when I was back then. I'm not going to be rushing to play that one, although I know a lot of people do talk very fondly of it. Speedball 2, I didn't like at the time, but it's actually grown on me over the years. I think it's a really good futuristic sports game from Bitmap Brothers. Way, way better than the original. It's got sort of that futuristic look to it, but also the feel to it as well. Just a really, really good game. Stunt Car Racer, again, my opinions on this, I had this on the Amiga when I was younger. Loved it back then. I played the Commodore 64 version of last year, which I thought was surprisingly good. So I will enjoy playing that. It not much to look at nowadays, but still a very good racing game. And the thrill of whizzing around those corners very quickly and doing high jumps and coming down from a great height. Really, really good. Supercars 2. This is a game I've got to revisit because I thought it was drastically overrated when I saw it. I thought it was a very ponderous, slow-moving top-down driving game. I didn't get it. Again, people who get this game love it. I just didn't see the appeal. I didn't think the first game was great, so it didn't inspire me to go and buy a sequel. Titus the Fox, never played it. The fact it's by Titus worries me a little bit, although I think it got reviewed very well at the time. It looks quite good from what I've seen. I'll just skip the USB thing to the last couple of games. Worms, a director's cut. Well, yeah, it's Worms, isn't it? I mean, who hasn't played Worms at some point? They were still making games for the Worms games for the 360 and the PlayStation. I'm not sure if they've gone any further since then or not. That's the director's cut. I'm not sure how that varies from the original, which I played on the PlayStation, I believe, not the Amiga. And then finally we got Zool, which again I've said a few times, I think is a very average to mediocre platformer designed to cash in on the speed of Sonic. And what you got really there is an uncontrollable, garish migraine-inducing mess of a game as far as I'm concerned. And I remember being at school and people who didn't have Amigas but consoles had Sonic would laugh at Zool and say, yeah, you can have Zool, mate, I'm having Sonic, and I can understand why. So those are the games that were built in. I don't think it's an awe-inspiring lineup. There are a few games on there that I would certainly play. Are there any games on there I didn't play originally that I may wish to do so? Well, Titus the Fox, I did say so. Quacks, definitely. Project X, probably. But I don't think there's anything else on here that I didn't play that I would want to go back and play. Maybe ATR as well. But I just felt that was a very uninspired lineup, and that's why I didn't buy this originally. So let's have a quick look at the USB. This was provided by Darren when I bought it. If I can get into it, that'd be good. There we go. Right, so you've got system volume information and some directory files here. These are the games. And this, I'm not going to sit here and go through every single one and tell you about them. But there's a vast number of games on here. I'm not sure how many there are, I didn't count them. But I was surprised by how many on here that I remember playing. I'll probably just point out the ones I did remember playing very, very quickly. And then what I'll do, as I said before, I will do a follow-up video and I'll actually be playing some of the stuff off here. I'm still trying to get to grips with this terrible controller. So the first one I remember, the Arabian Nights, which came from Chrysalis Software, which is a platform game based around sort of an Alibaba character. But very, very good platformer. But it did have some good reputation, Chrysalis, some good games back then. Badlands, I think, was a futuristic follow-up to the Super Sprint series where you actually race in the future with cars with weapons. I like it. I think it's a great game. I don't think it got particularly great reviews at the time, but I enjoyed that. Batman the movie, I've mentioned that many, many times. This one and this one disc and the two disc version, I'm not sure how they vary. I'm having issues with this controller. I've had a go at this and I can't get the grips, so I'm going to have to try and work out a better way of playing it. But yeah, that's not too bad. What have we got here? Oh, anyway, right, there we go. Battle Squadron, which is the aging shooting with BC Kid, which is more coming out of Bonk's Adventure. Beach Volley, it's a beach volleyball simulator, which is not simulator, beach volleyball game, which was incredibly weird when it came out because nobody knew what beach volleyball was back in the very late 80s. But yeah, I love that game. Yeah, I used to play that all the time when we got a copy of it. Me and my mate used to sit there and we could play two players, team up, and we'd constantly win that. So it's good memories on that one. Bubble Bobble, obviously, probably not the best version of it. I had it on, I think I had the Hit Squad re-release. But yeah, very Cannon Fodder there. You got all the cannons. Cannon Fodder 2, Cannon Fodder 2 Alien Levels, and Cannon Fodder. Version of Castlevania on here, which I'm interested to play. Chaos Engine 2 and also I made up with the right game. Chaos Engine 2 and everything I played. Chips Challenge, that's a pretty good puzzle game, which is most commonly associated with the Lynx. Lynx. The Crazy Cars games on there. While they're on there, God, cursed driving games. The Desert Strike, which has been converted to every single system, including the Barcode Battler, I believe. But great isometric Gulf War at the time. The Dune games are on there, so that's therefore, I think, looking at some of these games that Darren put on there, I'm pretty sure, I don't know whether it's his personal selection, but there's a lot of games on here which are sort of point and click strategy, role play, RPGs, which are not my sort of thing, so whether I'll keep them or not, I don't know. Epic, I've actually got the original version of that, and it's also got the mission disc as well. I had trouble getting mine to work, so that might be good to play that one, because it looks a different game from Ocean. It's all a very different game. Fire and Ice, that was a quite well regarded platformer. Flashback I mentioned earlier. Fight the Amazon Queen, I think that's a text adventure. I think it is. Formula 1 Grand Prix, which I've got the original of as well. But that's Jeff Cramman's cracking racing game from back then. One of the great, probably one of the greatest, if not still the greatest interpretation of Formula 1 racing. Gnome Ranger, which I've got a version, I think it's Ingrid Strikes Back, which is a text adventure, which I picked up in a bundle of Commodore 64 games ages ago, so it'll be interesting to see what that turns out. Gods, I'm surprised that wasn't actually a packing game if they're using some of the bitmap stuff, but
I thought it was a bit overrated as well. Great Garner Sisters, which many of you may or may not know, was the a platform game which had basically ripped off Mario Brothers and got pulled from release pretty soon after it came out. It's worth an absolute bloody fortune. I did nowadays. I did actually have a copy, as in copy of that, a backup. It's got the Hero Quest games on here, Heroes of the Lance, Heimdall, all very, very similar types of game, although they all vary differently. IK Plus, of course, one of the great beat 'em ups, karate, great stuff. Two Indiana Jones adventures, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and Indiana Jones and the I can't remember what it's called now. I thought about it the other day and I thought, yeah, no, that's what's good, can't remember. Anyway, they're sort of point and click adventures. Indy 500, which was released around the same time as Formula 1 Grand Prix, but not quite as good. Not bad, but not quite as good. Ingrid's Back, that's the ERP text venture I talked about earlier. It came from the desert, that came from Cinemaware. That was based around the 1950s, sort of giant science fiction creatures, with this time ants invading the American desert. Dream White's Whirlwind Snooker, probably best snooker game ever. Killing Game Show, which I've got the Mega Drive version, Fatal Rewind, again underrated platform shooter. King's Quest, I mean, I'm not going to be playing those. Nice to have them, but not my sort of game. Last Ninja 2 and 3, Leander, which I've got the original of as well. Psygnosis, I think that was. Leisure Suit Larry games, wow. 1, 2, 3, 5 and enhanced, that'll be interesting. Adult games, but not adult as in really like adult, sort of. I think if we played them back nowadays, which I'm going to do so, they'll be a bit sort of like Carry On style, a bit nudge nudge wink wink maybe, I don't know. Lemmings 2, follow up to the classic puzzle platformer. Link's golf game, I do like golf games on here. Little Computer People, that was a game where there's meant to be a little man living inside your computer. Very Commodore 64 game, I remember that from. Llamatron was a Jeff Minter game. Lost Vikings, which was 3 Vikings stuck in the future and you have to alternate between each of them because they've all got different abilities. The Lotus games, which most people will regard highly as probably made the best driving games on the Amiga. Magic Pockets, featuring the music of Betty Boo, platformer as well, and also a game show, a game that was used as part of a phone-in quiz back on Saturday morning television. Maniac Mansion, LucasArts point and click, Megalomania, Micro Machines, which I hated. So the opportunity to go back and revisit all these games that I didn't particularly like. Monkey Island 2, which I've got the original of as well. Nebulous, which was the tower platformer from Houston. New Zealand Story, which I got with my Amiga 500 originally, so I've played that actually since we set this up, which is great. Night Shift, which I think is a under the radar puzzle platformer, which I think is meant to be quite good, so I'll have to go back and look at that. Pang, which I had on a backup. Parasol Stars, which is from the Rainbow Islands Bubble Bobble universe, which is on the PC Engine Mini, I believe. There's a golf game, PGA Tournament, PGA Tour Golf and Tournament Disc. I've got that as well. Another one of the pinball games, Pinball Illusions. So we have 2 of the. So we got Dreams and Illusion, but not Fantasies. 3 Police Quest games. Yeah, Populous, which Populous and Powermonger, the God creation games. Where you start doing Premiere. Call Design platformer, which I've also got the original of. Pro Tennis Tour, that's a bit of a weird one. Rainbow Islands, Revenge of the Mutant Camels, another Jeff Minter Llamatron game. Rick Dangerous 1 and 2, oh, pull your hair out platformers. I do like them though. I think they're great games, but they are incredibly hard. Rocket Ranger, this was based around old black and white serials of the 1930s and 40s, particularly King of the Rocket Men. If anybody remembers that. I had the original of that. It's incredibly frustrating to play. I actually have a pretty much pristine copy for the ST as well. Rockstar Ain't My Hamster, I was thrilled to see that on there because I've never played that before. It's a Codemasters budget game which came out on 8-bit and then got converted to the ST and Amiga. You're manager of a band, I think it is. How it got away with some of the licensing back then, I don't know, but that's why we've not seen it since, because there would just be lawsuits flying left, right and centre. But again, some great humour in that game, and I'm looking forward to playing that. Rodland, one of my favourite platformers, and I've been playing it earlier. R-Type 1, which I'm terrible at because I played it last night and I still suck at it, no matter which version I play. And R-Type 2, which I do have the original of. So, to preserve my copy. Second Samurai I didn't like. If that's a follow-up to the first Samurai, I didn't like the first Samurai, so I'm going to like to play that. Monkey Island, classic point and click. Sensible Golf and Sensible World of Soccer. So that Sensible World of Soccer can play that. I think I've got a copy of it anyway. Shadow of the Beast 1, 2 and 3, which are games I just don't like. Silent Service 2, that's a submarine game. War. SimCity the classic. A God Simulator. Again, Space Quest 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm interested in those. Soccer Kid, mentioned Chrysalis right at the very top. Again, that's a platformer game. Very, very good. Sleepwalker, which is a comic relief game which got packed in with one of the Amigas originally. You have to guide, you're a dog and have to guide your owner who's sleepwalking through various stages. The original Speedball, Star Glider 2, which I had a copy of as well because I got it from a I can't remember where I got it from now, I paid up peanuts for it. Oh look, I can play Supercars. Super Frog, I think again one of these platformers which we have a bit of rose tinted glasses with. It's alright, I didn't think it was anything fantastic at the time. Again, it's another sort of Sonic wannabe. Super Stardust, which is probably a best updated version of Asteroids, really. Swiv, which was we had Silkworm, which was the original, which got very well written, and Swiv, which is a top-down vertical shooter. Very fine game indeed. Their finest hour, based on the Battle of Britain. Theme Park, which was just below that as well. Toki, which was in one of my videos and background in my videos a couple ago, which is a platform game. The 3 Turrican games. Not a massive fan of the Turrican series. Ultima, yeah, I'm not be playing those. Iridium 2, I haven't played the original for years, so that was an 8-bit game to start with. Vroom, which I think, did that use the same game engine as the F1 Domark game that came out on Mega Drive and Master System? I think it did. Walker, which, if you remember the film Robocop and the ED209 robot, looks very, very like that, and you're in control of it. It's not connected to Robocop, but it reminds me of that. War in Middle Earth, that would be a Lord of the Rings game. Where Time Stood Still, which was an isometric adventure where you travel back to the days of the dinosaurs. Whizball and WizKid, which most people remember. Wings, my favourite games. World War One. Really, it's a story. It's not a simulator or an adventure. It's a story. You take the role of a pilot who has to go to fly the earliest primitive aircraft in World War One. Brilliant game. I'm not sure how it will play now. I'll be thrilled to find out. But the storyline's fantastic. It really is. Really, really good. If you've never played it, I would suggest digging a copy out. World Class Leaderboard. I mean, this game came out on absolutely everything, and I don't think I played a bad version of it. And I had this as well. I think it came out as a budget game on the Amiga, and I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. We got Xenon 2. Yeah, it's all right. Music's good, but anything else, I don't know. Zap McCracken, which is another LucasArts point and click. Zool 2, joy. Z Out. I suppose X Out isn't on here, because I think that X Out came first and then Z Out came after. It's Rainbow Arts horizontal shooter, and Zynaps, which is also a shooter as well. So as you can see, Darren's put a hell of a lot of good games on there. Some I'm probably never going to play, and some I may play through sheer curiosity. But I mean, that is not a bad lineup. There's plenty of games there to get stuck into. Games that I remember playing, games I remember seeing around, and some I don't know anything about. We'll be interested to find out. So I will do a follow-up video on this and play some of those games. So I hope you'll tune into that. In the meantime, let's hand it back to the pantry and Mr. Bear in full colour.
So there you go. What a stellar lineup of games that Darren put on that USB stick. I tell you, that is going to keep me busy for a very, very long time. And of course, I have the ability to add more if I wish to do so. So, I was glossing over a lot of RPG, and I don't mean this, I'm not sure whether Darren put this for his own personal use or whatever. Those aren't my sort of games. I might take those off the stick and try and find things that are my sort of games. I get Treasure Island Dizzy on there or something just to annoy Davey. But this is just I really am very impressed with this bit of kit. And having played some of the games, which I will share with you in future videos, because there are some great games on there, and I've enjoyed playing some of them. I don't have a problem with anything that's coming out. I think the emulation is fine. Obviously, there is the issue with the screen size. It's quite postage stamp. I mean, if we start. Let's try and start this one up just while we're here at the moment. I know we were tinkering with the settings earlier. Oh, that's a bit better. That's a bit better. Yeah. So it's actually, where I had before, it was a very, very small screen in the middle, which is quite a meagre, really. But this seems to be a lot better now. But you can see there, a nice big screen on it. I'll just show you one more very, very quickly. The Speedball 2, I think. There we go. I'll let that just run for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with it. I mean, there aren't many of the minis that I've played on that I haven't been impressed with, but this was something that I really wanted to get hold of when I had the chance to, and I'm pleased I did. Like I said, the price I got for it was fantastic. But yeah, it's a really, really nice, tidy little piece of kit, this. If you find one cheap enough, I think it came down to about 75 quid a couple of weeks back. It's definitely worth it, and that is the real selling point, the fact you can put your own stuff on it, because honestly, fellas who put together retro games, that lineup is just not inspiring enough. It really didn't. I know it sold very well when it came out, but someone said to me, oh, there's a Amiga 500 mini coming out. I'm going, oh, great, fantastic, what games you got on there? F-16 Combat Pilot. Yeah? What else? Battle Chess. Yeah, I've moved on, you know what I mean? I'm sure they're fine games, but I can't see how that can go on a shelf and sell you to buy one of these. I don't know. It's purely going to be driven by nostalgia and the ability to put your own stuff on there. That's what it's going to be. So I hope that's been interesting anyway. I mean, look, it's a basic review. For the prices at the moment, I think with 75 quid, I think it's definitely worth a pop. And I think quite a few people have been waiting for it to creep down in price. I don't think it's going to go much lower, but I have been wrong before. In fact, many times before. So don't take my word for it, but I think if you see it for 75 quid, I think it's a definite no-brainer. You can have a lot of fun with it, and you may actually end up really appreciating it. And I think I don't know if it's for people who had one back originally or not, I don't know. Probably would be. That's why I quite like it. Is it the best mini I've played on? I think it's probably up there. I think it's the best one. I think my favourite one I've played on so far is probably the Mega Drive one. But this might be top three. Might be top three, this one. Anyway, what's your experience of it? Is it something you want to try and pick up? Have you not picked it up? Do you want to pick it up? What games from that list would you like to see me play? Or list I gave you earlier, what would you like to see me play? Please do let me know. And like I said, yeah, I will follow this up with some gameplay videos, and you can see how bad I am at it once I can try and work out how that god-awful controller, which is undoubtedly the worst aspect of this package entirely. It's terrible, it really is. It's right up there with the N64. Anyway, I'll leave that there. I'm not going to say it because you get the little graphics pop up now, don't you, or something? Every time I say the S word or the L word or the... So I'll just give you the signals. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon, but until then, take care. Bye-bye for now.